Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. You can follow me there. And today we've got major NFL news. Micah Parsons has been traded. Also, the 49ers rivalry jerseys have officially been released. And of course, stick around until later in the show because we finally got a full 53-man roster and 16-man practice squad to talk about. But before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below, leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into it. First of all, it's real, folks. What you're seeing on that bottom of the screen below me, it's real. Micah Parsons has officially been traded to the Green Bay Packers in exchange for 2 first-round picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. As a part of the deal, Micah has been granted a new 4-year contract worth $188 million. That's $47 million per year. Parsons is now the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL and the highest paid edge rusher by a long shot. He's making more than Patrick Mahomes is per year. According to Adam Schefter, this contract is front-loaded, with Micah set to make $62 million in the first year of the deal. Oh, man. Moves like this do not happen very often, people, and they certainly do not happen 1 week before the season begins. This whole situation is so strange, and if you get a chance, you should definitely watch the press conference that Jerry Jones and his son Stephen Jones put up after the trade went down on Thursday, because it was odd. Jerry Jones, in case you did not know, he was blatantly breaking the rules of the collective bargaining agreement by claiming he negotiated directly with Micah and agreed to a contract as opposed to going through his agent. The Cowboys then refused to offer anything beyond what Jerry believed he agreed to with Micah. Micah was also spotted sleeping on the sidelines during a Cowboys preseason game. This whole thing is ugly and it is weird. And now the Cowboys are moving on, trading their best player to the Packers for a solid but expensive and declining defensive tackle in Kenny Clark and 2 late first-round picks. This is a disastrous haul for one of the best pass rushers in football. And I can't lie, I love watching bad things happen to the Cowboys. Brings a certain catharsis that is really hard to replicate. Dallas has now lost Luka Doncic and Micah Parsons, their 2 franchise superstars, both only 26 years old, in the primes of their careers. And I'm living for it. I just don't see how Dallas can be competitive at all on defense this year. They might honestly finish last in that division. Because, they're not better than the Eagles. They're not better than the Commanders. And I'm taking the Giants' defense over the Cowboys 10 times out of 10, especially with this Micah Parsons move going down. So you're relying on the offense. And I don't know that I trust the Cowboys' offense all that much with Javonte Williams and Jaden Blue as their starting running backs. Anyways, to make a move of this magnitude 1 week before your season, it's mind-numbingly stupid. Jerry Jones has had yet another horrific failure. And to all the Cowboys fans out there, this is your opportunity to jump ship. Genuinely, I don't think anyone would blame you if you legitimately, permanently changed your fandom after this. This is that bad. Now, let's talk about the Packers side of things. Green Bay really starting to become a problem for the rest of the NFC, that's for sure. I think they should be favorites to win the North. I'm not sure that they will, but they will certainly be favorites going into the year. They're also not a perfect team. With no Kenny Clark anymore, they're starting who at defensive tackle? Carl Brooks? Nazir Stackhouse? I like those guys, but I don't know, man. I don't know if they're ready to be starters on a potential contending unit. This team should still be a little bit squishy against the run. And with Micah now getting $47 million per year, him and Jordan Love's combined average salary per year exceeds 100, which is the first time in NFL history that only 2 players combined average salary per year on the same team go over 100. That's pretty crazy. That's a lot of money tied up in just 2 players. Keep in mind, Niners have been kind of hamstrung with Brock, who is making less money than Jordan Love, and Nick Bosa, who is making way less money than Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons making $47 million per year. Nick Bosa all the way down at 34. That is a huge leap in salary. Overall, though, I do like the move for the Packers. It's hard not to, right? Guys like Micah do not become available often. And when you're expected to compete for a Super Bowl, it's always a great move to make to go get a top 5 pass rusher in football. However, giving up 2 first-round picks and paying him nearly quarterback money is a really high-risk move. Parsons was a career underachiever against the Niners, and now he's joining the Packers, who are longtime underachievers against the 49ers themselves. So if these two teams go up against each other in the playoffs, I know who I'm picking. A divisional loss to the 49ers for Green Bay this year? Oh, man. Oh, that would be sweet. Anyways, what I will say is that the Week 1 kickoff game between the Eagles and the Cowboys is now kind of a snooze fest. Will I be watching anyways? Obviously, it's the first time we've gotten real football since February. But the one that I really want to watch now is Week 4, Sunday Night Football, Packers versus Cowboys. That is suddenly must-see TV. So what do you think about the Micah Parsons trade? Should the Niners have offered that much to go out and get Micah? Who won the trade? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, in arguably just as important news, Thursday morning we finally got the reveal of the 49ers rivalry jerseys. In the very first episode I ever posted on Niners Now, I was theorizing about these jerseys, and 30-something videos later, the reveal is finally here. This is a very full circle moment for me personally, and it's made better by the fact that these jerseys are great, in my opinion. The more that I look at them, the more they are starting to grow on me. First of all, we were correct. The base is completely black. Black pants, black tops, black helmets. For the very first time, I believe in franchise history, the 49ers will not be wearing gold helmets. And I'll be honest, the black helmet is definitely something I'm getting used to. But I love how it looks with the gold face mask on the helmet. I think it's awesome. The gold accents throughout this uniform are really what brings it all together for me. My favorite part is the drop shadow on the numbers. If you haven't seen it, picture this. Black jersey, scarlet red numbers, and a golden drop shadow. It is beautiful. And of course, the numbers are that incredible, fantastic saloon font that they've been using for a couple years now. These jerseys are so much better than the old 2015 black color rush jerseys. And I kind of like those. This is a simple jersey, but there's so much more detail than those color rush ones. I mean, if you think about those, the color rush ones was like if you just made the base jerseys black. There was no additional changes. These look way different. They're way more detailed. They've got the new helmet. I love it. I'd say overall, I'd give it a B, right? I don't think that they were the best jersey that was released, but I do really like them. And of course, we got to keep in mind, they may look way better or way worse on the field. We won't know, of course, until week 18, which is completely ridiculous, by the way. Unbelievable that we are wasting these jerseys on a potentially completely meaningless game. Like, if we don't get to see Brock Purdy play quarterback in these jerseys, what was even the point, right? Anyways, like I said, the Niners did not have the best jersey, but I think it was one of the better ones in this reveal. I thought the Cardinals had easily the best. They knocked it out of the park with their sand-themed jerseys. The Niners and Jets and Patriots and Bills, I thought, all had pretty solid jerseys. If you wanted to rank, the Bills above the Niners or the Jets or whatever, I think that's appropriate. That's fair. And then the Dolphins, the Seahawks, and the Rams, I thought really dropped the ball. The Seahawks have a really cool iridescent helmet that's kind of bluish green, depending on how the light shines on it. But the rest is just a University of Oregon knockoff. I don't love it. And the Rams, man, what on earth are those Rams jerseys? They're terrible. There's no theme. Midnight Mode is not a theme. Midnight Mode was their excuse to do a blackout jersey for the Rams. I'll tell you right now, I live in Los Angeles. Midnight Mode has nothing to do with the city, nothing to do with the culture here, nothing to do with the Rams. They just took this random concept and threw it all together for no reason. Nothing on that jersey makes sense at all. There's no inspiration or reason for anything to be on the jersey. The Rams easily had the worst reveal, in my opinion. But what did you think of the rivalry jersey reveals? Will you be Will you be buying a 49ers rivalry jersey? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, let's talk about some 49ers roster news. On Thursday morning, the Niners officially completed their 53-man roster and their 16-man practice squad by making a few moves. They officially signed quarterback Adrian Martinez and running back Sincere McCormick to the practice squad, as well as receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Now, this is notable because I assumed at least that MVS would be on the active roster, but he's not. He's joining the practice squad. He now joins Robbie Chosen, Malik Turner, and Junior Bergen as the wide receivers on the practice squad. 4 is kind of a lot. I would certainly expect MVS to be elevated on game days while Demarcus Robinson is out with his suspension, but I did hear a rumor that he may later transition to a role on the 53. Of course, we will see, so keep an eye out for news on that front and subscribe to the channel because if that does happen, you'll certainly hear about it here. The Niners also signed wide receiver Russell Gage on the 53, which they said they were going to do on Wednesday, and they released safety Richie Grant. With Gage on the 53 and MVS on the practice squad, I think that there's a little more wiggle room for Kendrick Bourne now, who I assume would be joining the 53 if they are to bring him in. Speaking of, Bourne is visiting with the 49ers on Monday and with the Commanders on Tuesday. And apparently, there are contracts in place for both teams. So, if I had to guess, this is going to be over very soon. John Lynch, if you are watching, do not let Bourne leave the facility on Monday without a contract. Please, we need KB. Anyways, releasing Richie Grant also puts the team at only 3 safeties: Marquis Siegel, Jason Pinnock, and Jair Brown. Malik Mustafa will return at some point in the year, but until then, the safety room is very thin. And on the practice squad, they've only got Derek Canteen. They did not even bring back safety Jalen Mahoney, who had a great summer. Meanwhile, there's 11 defensive linemen and 10 offensive linemen still on the 53. I mean, I guess there's a chance that they just rock with the 3 safeties they have and they try and stay healthy until Mustafa's back. But there could also be a move coming for sure. This could mean Richie Grant coming back and someone else put on IR or something. Maybe Jalen Mahoney comes back and ends up not on the practice squad but on the 53. Maybe it's a bigger name like Justin Simmons, who 49ers fans have wanted on the squad forever and who still has yet to sign a contract. Regardless, Grant being cut makes safety officially a position to watch for this team. The 49ers also made another move last week, releasing UDFA running back Corey Kiner with an injury settlement. That means that 3 weeks after Kiner is healthy, he will be free to sign with any NFL team, which I believe includes the 49ers. This opens the door for a potential return for Corey Kiner, and hopefully that happens. I thought he was a pretty fun prospect at running back. One major takeaway from Thursday's roster moves is that Evan Anderson did not make the practice squad yet. Now, we do have good news. Anderson will be returning to the practice squad. Not sure who will be cut yet. That move was sure to come on Friday, I assume. But this has definitely been kind of a fall from grace for Evan Anderson. We are 1 year removed from him being the 49ers' highest paid UDFA addition and a guy who played real rotation snaps last year. And now he's joining the practice squad as the final member. Evan Anderson is in danger of losing his spot on this team, and that's kind of a shame because I think he's a pretty good player, and I really want to see him succeed. Of course, Niners will need to cut someone tomorrow, like I said, so keep an eye out for that news, or, stick around and find out in Monday's video. Now that the roster and the practice squad are officially finalized, I just wanted to do one final review of my roster ranking segment, which has carried us through the long weeks of summer training camp. I put the new trade additions in. Sky Moore was down at number 66, while Brian Robinson was 50 spots higher at number 16. He's in between Mykel Williams and CJ West. And I put Jordan Jefferson right in between those guys at number 46, right between Nick Martin and Jair Brown. Now, the worst player on my list that made the 53 was Robert Beal, all the way down at number 74. Beal, I thought, had a good summer by his standards, but I think there were still plenty of better players on the roster. He must be real good on special teams. That's all I'll say. If Brant Boyer trusts him, sure, great, whatever. The best player on my list that did not make the 53 was actually Richie Grant at number 48, who just edged out Dallas Flowers at 50. And the 53rd player on my list, Curtis Robinson, didn't make the team, funnily enough, but the 54th, Connor Colby, did. It's a fun fact for you. It was a lot of fun to track the roster throughout the summer, and if you wanted me to keep it up during the season, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm certainly open to it. My initial plan, though, is to probably transition into more of like a, stock report, winners, losers type of segment, maybe recurring throughout the year. That's my plan, but of course, if you've got thoughts, opinions, or suggestions on what you'd like to see, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Now, folks, for our last segment, I believe we have seen our final 49er on the NFL Top 100 list this year. Very sad, but of course, it's the captain of the defense, Fred Warner. And for the first time in this entire series, I think that the Top 100 finally ranked a 49er correctly. Fred came in at number 16, which feels appropriate coming off a season where he was playing through a broken ankle. Healthy Fred Warner is a top 10 player in the NFL, no question for me. But, of course, Fred wasn't healthy last year, but he was still the best linebacker in the NFL, and this list acknowledges that. Now, I don't think that Jared Goff at 15 was any better than Fred Warner at number 16 this year, but hey, it's not my list, right? So, the 49ers that made the top 100 list are Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, and their pick for the best player on the 49ers, Fred Warner. Now, I will say, we're getting close to some potentially uncomfortable conversations about who the best linebacker on the 49ers is. I think most people would still say that the Hall of Famer Patrick Willis is the best linebacker in Niners history, but Fred's getting pretty close, in my opinion. Willis had that Defensive Rookie of the Year award back in 2007, which is big, but Fred has only had one less All-Pro season and 3 less Pro Bowls than Patrick Willis. If Fred can win a Super Bowl with this team and add a couple more All-Pros to his resume, I think you really have to start a dialogue. So who do you think is better, Patrick Willis or Fred Warner? Do you think Warner will pass Willis by the time he retires? Let me know down below. Leave a comment, leave a like, of course, and let me know if there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. Thank you all for watching. I'm Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you tomorrow.